My name is Kadijat Salawudeen. As a person, I'm a perfectionist, but I'm also really passionate about the things that I do, which bleeds into my business, in which I'm a executive director of a company called Girls Who Listen. In the US, it was established about 5 years ago, and it's focused on creating and providing opportunities for young women who are eager to get jobs in the music industry and entertainment industry. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. So something that I knew I wanted to do when I was in school was to go into the music industry. I just remember being really passionate about it and wanting to help, my favorite artists to market their music, to, really just take their music from A to Z. And as I was making my journey within this, I did some research. And while I was specifically in my graduate school, I noticed that whenever I would try to connect with other women who are in the music industry, that they weren't as willing to be guiding as I was hoping to. But I would lean on the male counterparts, and they were a little bit more open. And so that's kind of what prompted me to do more research and to try to figure out, why are women so it almost feels as if it's, how do I describe, competition, within the women. And so again, when I was doing the research, I realized that women are just generally underrepresented. I also, found out that Rolling Stone, which is a media company, they also did some research on how many women are actually working in the music industry. And it turns out that out of 26 companies, that only 9 of those were female. So seeing those statistics made me realize that, there's a much bigger problem than just women who were willing to guide me. It's like a statistics issue. So after that, I just, started doing what I can to help other people. And it was just through my connections and through the conversations that I was having with other people. So, yeah. It's a nonprofit, so it's a charity. It's registered as a charity. And the main mission and focus is to really increase the amount of women who are working in music, because it's so underrepresented and a lot of access is limited. And so with me already going through the process and knowing what it takes to work in music, I'm just providing them with resources like resumes, how do they, I think here it's called a CV, but how to edit their CVs. I'm connecting them with the people, the HR or the human resources that are hiring at the companies. I'm taking them to different buildings, to create direct access. I think is the biggest part of it, because imagine being like a college student wanting to be in music and you don't know where to start or how to start, and the people who you try to connect with are not open to doing that. So Girls Who Listen is literally the bridge for that. If you're in college, you're interested in music and you want to learn more, you come to us and we provide workshops, mentorship programs, which is something that is really big. Oh man, there's so much that I don't even know I'm going to remember all of it. But, first, so far, we've been able to feature about 150 like mentees within the mentorship program that we have. It's something that we do twice a year, and it's application based, and they have to apply. I read through all of their responses, and they have to tell me like, why are you interested in this? Why do you want to be a part of this? Because although we're providing access doesn't mean that everyone will qualify. And as long as we see like determination, that you're hungry for this or you want to be a part of this opportunity, then that's kind of like the recipe to getting into our programs. But the mentorship program, so far with the sessions that we've been hosting, we've been able to get at least 150 people that we've welcomed into our program who's part of our like cohort. And when I did some research and kind of like an audit of all of the ladies and where they are, 70% of those are currently like in music industry positions. And it's because Girls Who Listen was their stepping stone for that. So whether it was connecting them, with, again, like a hiring manager or putting them into the right rooms, whatever the case may be, it's because of us that they're able to be within the music industry and those jobs as well. So I would say that that's the biggest success story. But another part is just being able to do like what I love. Like I genuinely love this work, because I remember just when I was trying to make my way into music, and just being able to be that stepping stone for them is actually something that I could have never imagined that I'm doing for other people. And so I would say just the companies who trust us to partner with us, like there's companies like SoundCloud that we've partnered with. I've received major grants from companies like Audiomack, if you guys are familiar with it. We've also received some stuff from like Sony Music. We've been able to partner with JBL, which is a headphone company. We've done some stuff with Shure as well. So all the companies that have been able to, whether it's like donating sneakers, like Puma has also partnered with us to provide sneakers for our cohort of women. So yeah, I would say that those are the success. Like even the fact that it's running in itself still is a success, because there's so many times when I asked myself, like, is this my purpose and is this what I'm supposed to do? And so I kept coming back to it. And running a business could be hard. So the fact that we're going into 6 years is a success in itself. So I think it took like about a month for me to realize like how big of a deal that it was. I have like so many people, even from my my day-to-day job that I work, that come to me and they're like, this is Forbes, like what are you talking about? Or this is a major accomplishment. Something about me is that I love reaching milestones like that, and I'm trying to get better at it, but I love reaching milestones, but I'm just like, okay, like what's the next thing? Like let's move on to the next thing, so it's still soaking within me, but I do feel super, super grateful, because Forbes is such a big media platform. And so since then I've been able to get just like a lot of more recognition from other people, and a lot more just accolades, because it's, and I could use that too when I'm pitching to other companies that I want to partner with, because they might not trust this small but mighty company, but they'll trust a company like Forbes, in which, will say, hey, we were able to be featured on this, this website. So it's surreal, but I feel like, just really blessed and really great to be a part of it. It's so funny you asked that, because Kadijat is Girls Who Listen, if that makes sense. So everything that I did to make my way in the music industry is because of all of the trials and the both positive and negative things that I've went through. Like I probably put my mom and dad through the fire. Like I would be coming home late at like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, because I just had to go to this, this music event, or I just had to be there. So I would say, you said advice, right?
Yeah.
I would say to keep going. I think that the reason why I've been, even though I'm not where I want to be exactly right now, like there's so much more to come. The music industry is about hustling. It's about people seeing you. It's about, visibility. And so I think that if I had to give myself advice, I would say is to be even more visible, because I don't like being in front of the camera. Like if this was me, like a couple years ago, like I would not be even doing something like this. But I would say it's to be more visible and to be more, out there and more present, because I like for the work to be seen like behind the scenes. I'm not necessarily like a in person for show. So I would say to be more visible and to be more seen and out there. So it's a little bit of both. So I have like some mentees who are more focused on like the music business. So they're, the ones who want to kind of like market the music or help create the music in the studio with the artist. And then on the other side, I also have like songwriting camps that I curate with them actually. So we would go to different cities and we would do like just songwriting camps. And so for 3 days straight, they would basically just like create music with each other. So imagine like strangers coming into the studio and having to like create a song and really just create a bond with each other as well. So we did that in New York City. And then we did it recently also in Los Angeles as well as Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia, we actually had partnered up with the Grammys and the Recording Academy, which is a company obviously focused on like songwriters and producers and really just like, creating a space for them. So it's a little bit of both. I don't mind. I just have to figure out how to create the right connections. There are definitely some companies in Nigeria that I know of. So it's just a matter of like connecting all of the dots, but it's not something I mind at all. And I want to be able to bring it back, to Nigeria and to bring it back to where it all started, because it's all inspired by, where I'm from and who I am deeply. So it's important for me to give back, but I don't mind at all. That might be the next mission. So am I going to see you in the studio?
Yeah, if you're at home.
Okay. Yeah, so speaking of, being in my father's land, I would say that a big part of Nigeria is giving back, especially to the, to the smaller children and to children just in general, or just people. And so we did a give back recently in Ibadan. And so that day was more so focused on, usually our programs are more focused on like 18 to 32, because again, college and university students. But this time I wanted to dedicate it to the smaller girls who are making their, who are coming up and still, very young, and they need the materials to, to go to school. So we literally went to the store, spent like 2 whole days, like, buying like backpacks and buying like pencils for them to be able to, write with in school. We gave them notebooks or jotters. And then we ended up giving them even like small scholarships each of like, 5K Naira each. And it was like about like 30 students. So just doing the small part that I can to help the community is not as much as I, wanted to, but it's a starting point. And I think that that's the most important part to say, is that is a starting point. But it was filled with, dancing, and, we gave them ice cream as well, because, what kid doesn't love ice cream? So yeah. So there's a mentee, she was in the first program that we ever did. And this is when I was figuring it out, and I didn't even know what it looked like, but to see the trajectory that she's been able to go from. But her name is Gina, and she started off as an assistant at a record label company. And I remember just also being at the record label, again, just trying to help her connect the dots. And we were able to like help her land the job that she has. And 5 years later, she's currently the director of the label. So that is someone who is just means the world to me, to see that she's been able to grow within the company like that. And it's not easy to go from an assistant to a director, especially in 5 years at a record label. So she's someone who I'm really proud of, and someone who always, like, to me, is the definition of like what I want the success to look like for the other mentees as well. In terms of artists, there's one producer, like this female producer, her name is Alicia. We've been able to work with her, and she's worked with like Anderson .Paak. So she's someone, I think, if you guys are familiar with Danny Lay as well, we've been able to work with her. It's not really, I would say, like artist focus. It's just more so like music executives focus. But we've had major executives from like Atlantic Records. Like recently we did a mentorship program with someone who works on like Cardi B's team. She's like one of the executives that works on her team. So it's a lot more like female executives that are making their ways. We've been able to work with executives within companies like, Pandora or SiriusXM. I'm trying to think what else. Honestly, anything you can name within like music, like we've been able to work with that company or the people like within it. Now it's growing 100%. I would say that people are now noticing or really like appreciating just more Afro beats and the artists that are coming out of here. I would say that, the first person that kind of comes to mind, and that's because I've been listening to her music recently, but even like Ira Star, like when she's been able to really create like a connection with Republic Records, like in the US, like the fact that she's able to make that connection between Nigeria and the US, I would say that it's definitely making its way, and more people are appreciating it now. I would say is to just stay eager and stay curious. I think the more questions you ask and the more determined you remain, the better it's going to get in the long run. So I think, one of the reasons that I've been able to be just, I'll use the word successful, but one of the ways that I've been able to make my way is because, again, I stayed curious, I stayed humble as well. I think that's a big part of it. Even when you land opportunities, it doesn't mean you have to tell everyone about it, because I also believe that not everyone wants to see you succeed. So I would say stay curious, ask questions, do your research. I think that's a big part of it. Like, you can't say you want to work for a company, and if I asked you, what that company does, and you don't know, what to say. I think doing research, staying on top of like trending news, anything that you can do to make yourself feel valuable, I think it's a major part of it. So that's the advice that I would give them. Yeah, so I've been able to actually create a physical building for Girls Who Listen, and so that's where we were able to host the Give Back, and it's a cafe / like event center, and so anyone who kind of wants to just like host their event can come to that location, and soon enough it's going to become also something where people can just like come and work and really just have it as a space for them to focus on whatever project they may be working on. But to answer your question, yes, I do plan on making it something annual. That way, it's something that people can continue to look back to. And I definitely want to also tap into other companies and, like vendors who can help to provide more of the stuff, because everything for the first year, came out of my pocket, which I don't mind, but I think that the more that I can get more people aware, the more we can give out. like, the school book bags, being able to give more school book bags, or being able to, give them shoes to be able to, go to school, or more like books and notebooks, or like whatever the case may be, so that they feel like they are supported and they have what they need to, move on to the next stage of their life. So yes, I do plan on making it annual with the support of other companies. So when I was making my way into the industry, I had connected with this artist manager who told me that there are these classes that he wants me to go to. And this is, again, during my early career and my early parts where I didn't know what to do, but I was just talking to people and I was just open about what I wanted to do. And so he told me that he can get me connected to some of the people that, he works with. And at the time, he worked with people like Chris Brown, and he was just naming people. So he told me that the classes cost $800. I don't know what that is in Naira, but the classes were $800. And I was working in school at that time. I was only receiving like about $200 like every 2 weeks. So it took me like about 2 months to acquire all of the money, because my parents, they're very strict. They don't think that the music industry is necessarily something that's considered, successful. So I had no choice but to pay it for myself. And so I paid for those classes. And at the end of it, it ended up being a scam. So that was probably one of the biggest lessons that I learned. I wish I didn't pay that, because maybe I would be $800 richer today. But it's also taught me so much about just how important like hustling and navigating the music industry is. And so it just shows that people are not as trustworthy as they assume to be. So that's why it's so important, even with Girls Who Listen, to create this safe space that people can feel like they're getting the resources that they're that they're signing up for, or whatever the case may be. So yeah. Yeah, so it's something that we just initially started to bring back, like established in 2026, about 3 weeks ago. So as I make my way back, to the US, I'll definitely figure out how we can continue to come to, give back. So I'm gonna reach out to some companies, see who I can get to also help donate just some supplies and materials and things like that. And so the more I get, the more I bring to Nigeria. So all of those proceeds is gonna go directly to Nigeria. If anyone is watching this or listening to this, just to stay connected with Girls Who Listen. So the website is girlswholisten.org. And then we're on Girls Who Listen on all social media platforms as well. No, I was born in Nigeria.
What was your favorite food?
My favorite food?
The Yoruba favorite. The local dish. Which one?
Is it swallow or is it
Oats.
So semo?
No, it's not the local food.
It's not?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. So what is local food? Give me some examples. Oh no, I don't like that one. Okay, Iwedu and Bagri together is fine, but thank you. But I mean, white amala I would manage it, but I haven't been eating that one lately. But jollof rice is fine.
You believe Nigerian jollof rice is the best jollof?
Of course. What kind of question is that?
So it's the best.
Of course it is. Who else is competing?
Can you prepare it?
Of course.
Which other Nigerian food can you prepare?
I can really prepare stew and white rice.